Pisces, what's going on with you? Come on in, have a seat, make yourself comfortable. My name's Alan Hill from UnknownTruthTarot.com. Welcome back to another Pisces love reading. Today we're going to take a look at the status of your love connection here at the end of October 2025. So let's get started and let's get one card for what's the mutual point of interest between Pisces and their romantic person of interest here at the end of October 2025, please. What's going on with you, Pisces? What's going on with Pisces as it relates to their romantic person of interest and the connection between them here at the end of October 2025, please? Taking those two together, I see. Okay. Come here. All right. What's going on with your person, Pisces? What's going on with Pisces' romantic person of interest as it relates to Pisces and the connection between them here at the end of October 2025, please? Got one flip over on me in the deck. Okay. On the bottom of the deck, the overall energy of this reading, Ace of Swords. This is the sword of truth. It's the sword of clarity. It's the sword you make decisions with. It's also the sword you would use to cut off something or some person that might not be in your best interest anymore. Oh man. Right behind that Ace of Swords, we have the Five of Cups. This is Scorpio energy. This is sadness and remorse about the past. It's about being focused on these three cups that have been spilled, and that represents all the love and emotions that have been spilled, all the time, effort, and energy that's been spilled and wasted. Now, there are two upright cups in the background, which can represent that even though you have some sort of an emotional loss here, there are still things that you could be happy about. And at the core of what this card is really about, it means that whatever you focus on is going to dictate to you what emotions you feel. So here this person is focused on something from their past, so they're feeling the past. They're focused on something that they've lost, so they're feeling that loss. They're focused on something that's missing from their life, so they're feeling that gap right now. And you could change your focus, and that's kind of what the advice of the card is. You have to be like consciously aware of where your focus is going, and you get to control that. Now, granted, that's easier said than done, which is kind of represented by the three cups, which is bigger and weighs more than the two cups that are in the background. So you could shift focus here. It's just going to require a little bit of conscious mind effort in order to do that. And right behind this Five of Cups, we have the Page of Wands. So pages are messengers. So this would be news and messages and communications about passion, desire, expressing interest. This is also the minor arcana version of the Fool. And the Fool is about taking this blind leap of faith on some new thing. And this is a little bit more toned down version of that energy. This is someone who has the willingness to take the very first steps down a brand new path towards something that there's passion and desire for. So that can represent passionate messages. This could be saying some truth came out, and whatever that truth was caused you to feel some sort of an emotional loss, maybe spilled the togetherness in the connection here. It could be that someone was doing passionate communication somewhere. This could just be saying, hey, you've got to take control of your focus, like take conscious control of where your focus is going, and that could give you the willingness to do the first step on something new. That's the gist of what this is going to talk to me about. We will come back to that more as we go through this reading. This mutual point of interest is shared energy that affects both of you in some way here at the end of October 2025. It's not always going to affect you both exactly the same way. Sometimes they do this and you feel the consequences, or even vice versa. Sometimes they'll say or do something and it makes you start to feel or act this way, or even vice versa. Sometimes it's something external that's affecting you both. But that shared energy between the two of you here at the end of October 2025, Pisces, is the Devil. This is Capricorn's major arcana card. This is a heavy toxic energy. This can be obsession. This can be addiction. This could be a feeling of being trapped by something, feeling like I can't escape from something. It's an energy of control, but this is usually something else having control of me, not me having control. this could represent a whole lot of things, but it's something that's not necessarily good here. This a lot of times will be like a toxic attraction or bondage or a toxic feeling, like the connection itself could be toxic, but then it having so much pull that it feels like maybe I can't escape from it, even though there's some element of truth here and some element of emotional loss here. I'm going to clarify this and see what else we can find out for you here. Tell me more about the devil. Why is that the mutual point of interest between Pisces and their person here at the... Okay, we got a lot. Let's see. This one was first. Let's make sure nothing else flipped. All right. Normally, I get 3 clarifiers. I just got 6 here. So clearly this devil energy is an important piece of the puzzle for you here, Pisces. Underlying this devil energy, the Empress. This is the mother of the tarot deck. She's always pregnant. She's always giving birth to something. In a relationship reading, she represents the birth of something new. That's usually the birth of a new connection. However, sometimes it can represent trying to rebirth a connection that's already died. This does not give me a whole lot more clarity here. I have Judgment right behind that. This is the most powerful decision card in the deck. This is about passing a final verdict and judgment on something. In a relationship reading, this is either A, we're calling this thing dead and over with and there is no coming back from it, or B, it can be about resurrection. Like you can see this angel is playing on the horn and she's raising the dead. She's calling the dead back to life, bringing it back from the grave. So that doesn't answer my question on, are we talking something new and that means this connection with you is dead and over with, or is this trying to rebirth the connection and trying to resurrect it and bring it back to life? When I clarify the devil, I get the devil from the other deck as the very first clarifier. Also the 4 of Wands, the Ace of Cups, the King of Cups, the 5 of Wands, and the Page of Wands. Well, we get the Devil card again. This is, like I said, Capricorn Major Arcana. That's the card I'm clarifying right now. Anytime I'm clarifying a card and I get the same card in the clarifiers, that's the universe beating me over the head, letting me know, dude, I'm telling you, there's something unhealthy and toxic going on in the shared energy between the two of you right now. Like, these are the same 2 people from the Lovers card, but here they have chains around their neck. They're not here because they want to be. They're here because they have to be. They can't leave, or at least they think they can't. The chains around their necks are really just big loops around their neck, and if they wanted to, they could take that loop right off and leave anytime they want. They just don't think they can. Maybe they don't realize they can. Maybe they don't believe they can. Sometimes this is a toxic, limiting belief. Even on this main devil card here, this is the Tarot of Dreams deck, and here the cage, the Fool inside the cage, the Fool like from the very first card of the deck. But the cage door is wide open, and the chains that the devil is holding are connected to the cage, not him. But he's got his face buried in his arm because he's afraid to face the situation that he's in. So that can represent some element of denial about not wanting to look at something, not wanting to face something, maybe not wanting to face the truth of something. He could just walk right out of this cage and leave anytime he wants to, and he's just not doing that for some reason. And like I said, they could take the loops off of their head and they could leave whenever they want. But these people have grown horns and tails because they've been in this toxicity for so long that it's starting to distort who they are. It's starting to change pieces of them. So this could feel like a connection that has, it's almost like a feeling of I can't break free from it, or something in it has control over me. Next, I have the 4 of Wands. This is Aries energy. 4s are about stability, and Wands are about passion and desire. So this can be like stability of the family life, stability of the home life. It's like a celebration of home and family kind of an energy. Can also be stability of the connection. Although if that's the case, I don't know for the life of me how we have the devil in both decks already. So this doesn't seem like a stable connection. It seems like something that's toxic that maybe there's an unhealthy level of attachment to. And like I said, the devil card usually carries some element of denial with it. So this could be talking about a toxic home life, a toxic family life, a toxic connection that maybe I want to believe that it's stable, but it might not be. There's some element of truth here with this Ace of Swords as the overall energy, and some element of emotional loss and remorse and regrets. Next, I have the Ace of Cups. This is a new beginning in love and emotions. Normally, this is a new beginning, like as in meeting a new person showing up, new cup of love showing up. I do have on the bottom of the deck still the Empress, the birth of something new. And right behind this Five of Cups in the overall energy, I've got this Page of Wands, which is news and messages about passion and desire, expressing interest, expressing what it is that I want. Getting a little bit ahead of myself, but that same Page of Wands is also out here a couple clarifier cards from now. Oh man, oh man, oh man. I'm getting called back to this Five of Cups. These two cups in the background and these three cups that are spilled. In tarot, the Three of Cups represents togetherness, like being united and celebrating, being together. However, it can also represent a third-party thing is happening because of the three cups of love are in the picture. There's a connection between the two of you, which is what I'm reading about, and I do have a third cup here, a new cup showing up. That two cups in the background can represent there could be another connection looming in the background. That might be the truth here. That might be the thing that you're maybe not wanting to look at, or maybe the other person not wanting to fess up to that, but I've got two pages behind that Page of Wands and the Page of Pentacles. So there's some communications happening about interest and desire and passion. And then this one would be communications about a physical opportunity presenting itself. I got a card jumping off on the floor here, which is that Page of Wands I just told you is out here in the clarifiers. So passionate messages. Next, to clarify the devil, I have the King of Cups. This is either Pisces or Scorpio energy. This is usually Scorpio, depending on how you view the court cards here. This would be a person who you probably have a lot of love and emotions for. They also have a lot of emotions, but you can see his face is completely straight. You can't see any emotion on his face. He doesn't wear his heart on his sleeve. He doesn't publicly broadcast his emotions, good or bad. Like the water around his feet is all rough and choppy, which represents rough, choppy emotions, emotional turmoil of some kind. But again, he's cool, calm, collected, really hard person to read here. Now, that could mean this person loves you and you don't really know it because they don't express it. It could also mean this person is going through some heavy emotional turmoil tied to this new cup that maybe you don't know about either. Next, I have the Five of Wands, which is Leo energy. Fives are conflict and wands are desires. So this would be a conflict in desires, an internal conflict where a piece of me wants this and another piece of me wants pretty much the opposite of that. And now I'm torn, I'm conflicted, my energy's scattered. There's different parts of myself pulling me in different directions all at the same time. So it's a real like fragmented kind of an energy. This could be an internal conflict for you. It could be an internal conflict for your person. It's in the shared energy. So it could be either of you. It could be both of you have some sort of an internal conflict about what's going on here. It could even mean that you're pulling this way and they're pulling that way. And instead of both of you pulling in the same direction, you're kind of playing tug of war with each other. And then we got that Page of Wands again, news messages, communication about passion and desire, passionate messages, expressing interest, expressing desire, having the willingness to take the very first steps down a brand new path towards something there's passion and desire for. I got 3 Wands cards in the clarifiers, a lot of passion and desire. I got 2 Cup cards right in the middle. So there's a lot of emotions here as well. But then I've got 2 Devil cards with it. So there's something skewed here. There's something distorted about the passion. There's something distorted about the stability. And it's looking like your person having an internal conflict because there's this like energy that's going in the opposite direction of where your energy is on the table, about taking the first steps down a new path toward passion. And this new cup showing up with the birth of something new still staring at me on the bottom of the deck. I will freely admit to you, at the early stages of these readings, it is very common that I don't know exactly what the heck I'm talking about yet. This usually does not become fully clear to me until I get at least part of the way through your energy. I'll come back to it then, because then I'll be able to see what this is trying to tell me for you. I will come back to it again as I go through your person's energy, because then I can see how it applies to them. Your energy in this connection, the first card is always the most important. You got that Five of Wands again. Central to your energy, Pisces, is the Queen of Cups. And your final card came out as 2. We got the Ten of Pentacles and Strength. We just went over this Five of Wands because it's out here in the shared energy. That is Leo energy. That is an internal conflict. Conflict between your desires, different parts of yourself pulling in different directions. Tell me more about this Five of Wands, please. Why is that the first card for Pisces here at the end of October 2025? Where did you go? I saw it. There's one flipped up. There we go. Well, wow. Underlying that Five of Wands, Seven of Pentacles. This is Taurus energy. This is a period of time for one of 2 reasons. The first reason is it can be a period of time where you're pausing to reflect and take stock of this connection, take stock of the situation that you're finding yourself in. It's about looking at that and trying to decide, is this ever going to turn into the Ten of Pentacles that I really want? That Ten of Pentacles is out here in your last position. Is this worth me continuing to invest my time and my effort and my energy into it? Or is this a spot where maybe it's not going to pan out the way I want to, and maybe it's time to cut my losses and move on? So it can be that period of time where you're contemplating those types of things. It can also represent a period of time where seeds have already been planted on something. But there's this lag time from when you plant a seed until the thing fully grows, fully develops, matures, and now I can harvest it and actually reap the rewards of all the work that I put in. So this could be, we've had a period of time going by where you've had this, something has happened to cause you to have an internal conflict. It could be a period of time has gone by where we've had this toxic thing going on in the connection, or maybe this person has some toxicity to them. This is in the shared energy, that devil is, so it's not going to be quite that simple where I can blame it all on them. There's some element here that this is affecting you at this point. Behind this period of time going by, it's probably contemplating something, because I have the King of Swords right behind it. This is Aquarius energy. This is a very smart, logical, rational, analytical person. It's the chief decision maker of the deck. But it's someone who, when they make their decisions, they kind of throw their emotions right out the window. This is someone who doesn't really care about how anyone feels. This is someone who is only concerned with the truth and the facts and what can I see in front of me? What can I verify with my own eyes? What do I know? And I'm going to decide based on that and not based on emotions. It's pretty much the counterbalance to this King of Cups that's out here in the shared energy. Like, to me, the King of Cups can be that person who throws their logic and their reason and their common sense out the window and just decides based on how they feel about something. And this is pretty much the opposite. I'm throwing my emotions out the window, deciding based on what I know, what I think, what I can verify. And really, you would want to have both of these to be like a balanced decision maker. And I don't know that that's happening, because I got the devil out here in both decks in the shared energy and internal conflict out here in the shared energy. And the card I'm clarifying for you right now is that Five of Wands, internal conflict. So that could be a conflict between your head and your heart, where logic and reason and common sense is pulling you in one direction. Maybe the truth and the facts is pulling you in one direction, but then your emotions are pulling you in a different direction. And that could have been going on for a period of time as well while you're contemplating what to do. And you're probably conflicted about whether to continue investing in this or whether to cut your losses. Now, when I clarify that Five of Wands, I get the Five of Swords, the Five of Pentacles, the Fool, and the Nine of Wands. Fives are conflict. And I've got 3 conflict cards in a row in the most important position on your side of the table. This Five of Swords is Aquarius energy. This can be a big fight that probably ends things. This can be a betrayal. This can be someone who has this winning at all cost kind of a mentality, like where collateral damage is fine to me as long as I get what I want. That's the only thing I'm concerned with. So it can be someone who sets things up in a way that's not really fair and maybe takes advantage of the situation to get what they want. More often than not, this represents a betrayal. And you might have some internal conflict because of that. Then I get the Five of Pentacles, so more conflict. This is Taurus energy of abandonment. This is about being cast aside, being left out in the cold, being discarded, walked away from. This is a breakup energy, so it's possible we had a big fight. Could be we had a betrayal as well. Next, I have the Fool. I kind of referenced that when I told you about this Page of Wands that's out here in the clarifiers for the shared energy, and it's 3 cards deep in the overall energy. That's the minor arcana version of this Fool. Excuse me. This is the first card of the major arcana, the first card of the entire tarot deck. It's a legitimate new beginning on something. But it's a new beginning where I don't really know what the steps are. I don't really know what the end result is going to be. So this is about just taking that blind leap of faith. You can see he's about to just leap right off the cliff. So it's about saying, you know what, screw it, I'm going to go for it. And I will worry about how to grow wings on my way down. I'll figure this out as I go. It could be that. But the other meaning to the Fool is it can represent foolish behavior, foolish decision making, taking unnecessary risks, taking risks outside of a connection. This could be someone started something new. I do have an Ace of Cups out here in the shared energy. That would be a new beginning in love and emotions. And when I clarified that Devil card, I had the Empress on the bottom of the deck. So underlying that was the birth of something new. So we definitely have some new beginning here. Next, I have the Nine of Wands. This is Sagittarius energy. This is a defensive energy. It's about being walled off and defensive. It's also an energy of healing. This is the wounded warrior. And he's been hurt, which is why he's built this wall around himself. It's a defense mechanism. It's his way to protect himself so he doesn't get hurt anymore because he's trying to heal so he can get his energy right to take the next step in his journey. So it's looking like you've been hurt, definitely, because at its core, whether this is a betrayal or a big fight or somebody that's doing things that aren't fair, and it's like stacked against you, at its core, this is a mentally and psychologically painful situation or event. Abandonment is also painful. And in the middle of that is either this idea of, it's probably someone starting something new is what it's looking like to me. Central to your energy, Pisces, is the Queen of Cups. This is probably your energy. This would represent you having a lot of love and emotions to give, probably wanting to pour your love into this person. It's the most intuitive queen in the deck. She's very in touch with her emotions, very in touch with her intuition. Sometimes she's an overgiver, though. In a normal standard tarot deck like I'm clarifying with, the Queen of Cups is the only character that has a lid on top of her cup, and that's a way to protect her emotions from getting contaminated. But in this deck, her cup is wide open. Tell me more about this Queen of Cups, please. That could be why there's an internal conflict here, because you might have been through a spot where you need to protect yourself. You've potentially been betrayed and abandoned, and you're conflicted about whether to keep the cup open or not, whether I should close that off. Underlying this Queen of Cups, 3 of Pentacles. Wow, this is crazy. I'll tell you in a second. The 3 of Pentacles is Capricorn energy. This is teamwork, collaboration, working together as equals to build something of value. This would be like laying the foundations to build the Ten of Pentacles. That Ten of Pentacles, again, is out here in the final position for you, and we'll clarify that next. But this is supposed to be working together as equals to build something. We have what looks like stability if it wasn't for it being attached to the devil, and if it wasn't also attached to this new cup of love showing up. We've got an internal conflict tied directly to the King of Cups, which is the counterpart to this Queen of Cups here. So we got something fishy going on here. Something is distorted and not quite right. This could just be telling me that all this, excuse me, this conflict, this you getting hurt, occurred when you were working together to lay the foundations for building a life together. But then we have Judgment right behind it. And again, most powerful decision card, passing a final verdict in judgment on a situation. This is either calling it dead and over with, or this is about resurrecting it. Damn. I got the Ten of Cups right behind it. This is Pisces energy. This is that happily ever after, happy fairy tale romance, happy fairy tale love connection. This is most people's goal in terms of love and relationships. Even though really the Nine of Cups should be the goal. This is the card everyone wants to see. Very rarely is this talking to me about you having actual true love and happily ever after and happy fairy tale ending with this person, especially with Judgment right in front of it, with the devil out here in both decks. This is a toxic, distorted version of this. Most of the time, what this is talking to me about is someone's idealized point of view. In other words, I want this Ten of Cups so badly that I'm willing to keep my eyes covered and not see the toxicity that's all around me. I'm willing to leave my head in this loop and stay chained to this thing because I want this to be true. There's betrayal out here. There's abandonment out here. There's what looks like foolish decision making, taking risks outside the connection. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but there's Three Cups of Love in this picture. I've got the new cup showing up here, all this internal conflict. That does not sound anything like the real Ten of Cups to me. And if we detach from your situation for a minute, like detach emotionally, and let's just like zoom way out, like you ever hear that saying, you can't see the forest for the trees? Let's zoom way out so we can see the big picture here. Think about it logically. We've got this Ace of Swords, logical, rational mind. We've seen the King of Swords, looking at the truth and the facts and not letting the emotions get in the way here. So let's do that for a second and think about this logically. If you really had the happily ever after, the happy fairy tale love connection with this person, would you be here right now watching a tarot love reading, seeking guidance on the connection? The answer to that is no, you wouldn't be. Also, we wouldn't have the devil out here twice. We wouldn't have betrayal and abandonment and the Fool and the Third Cup of Love showing up two different ways here. So this is an idealized point of view about something, but we have this idea of the togetherness having judgment passed on it, like the working together as equals. We have the idea of the Ten of Cups having judgment passed on it. And then we've got you potentially being in a spot where you're emotionally open and vulnerable here. Maybe overgiving emotionally. When I clarify Queen of Cups, I get the Three of Wands, the Emperor, and the Three of Cups. Now, the reason I said, whoa, that's kind of crazy, is because I have a 3 on the bottom of the deck, and I have 2 more 3s out here in this column. And your first card was the 5 of Wands, and I had 2 more 5s out here. So 3 5s, 3 3s. This 3 of Wands is Aries energy. This is essentially an energy of waiting on something. The 2, 3, and 4 of Wands are the story of manifesting. In the 2 of Wands, you're at this decision point about what do I want my life to be like? What do I want? And it's about choosing which path you think is going to get you to the thing you want and leaving the other path behind. In the Three of Wands, that decision has already been made. The path's been chosen. Steps have started being taken down that path. Actions are being taken, trying to create the thing that I want. And here, the thing that I want hasn't happened yet. I believe it's going to happen. It just hasn't happened yet, and I'm waiting on it to arrive. Waiting on this ability to pour my love and emotions into this person. The problem is there's a betrayal, or at the minimum, a mentally and psychologically painful situation or event sitting here that's got waiting tied to that too. The other thing the waiting is tied to is the Emperor. This is the Aries Major Arcana card. I feel like I've said Aries a couple of times here. I've said Leo a couple of times. I got a little bit of Scorpio here. I got some Capricorn here. A little bit of Taurus, a little bit of Sagittarius, a little bit of Cancer, a little bit more Cancer, some Taurus. You could be dealing with any of those signs, but this is a collective reading, so it's going to be almost impossible for me to pin down exactly who you're dealing with as an individual person, because I'm not tapping into your energy as an individual person during this reading. I'm tapping into literally thousands of Pisces people all at once. So I'm going to continue to call these signs out just in case they mean anything to you, but this is Aries energy. This is an energy of control. It's about taking control, taking charge of a situation. It's about putting together a plan to get what you want and executing the plan to get what you want. This is the person that's running the show, setting the boundaries, calling all the shots. Very rarely in one of these readings is this talking about the person I'm reading for, which would be you in this case. It's almost always talking about the other person being in control. There are two energies of control in tarot: the Emperor and the Devil. I've got the Devil in both decks out here. Now, this is supposed to be about being in control, and the Devil would represent something else having control. So I've got that out here twice as strong as this. Also, this would be like probably you waiting on them on some level. But then there's also abandonment, being left out in the cold, discarded, tied to them, and them being in control of that, and you probably waiting on the ability to open yourself back up and pour your love into them. The final clarifier for Queen of Cups is the Three of Cups. This is Cancer energy. This has got two distinct meanings. It's either about being united and celebrating, or in this case, it could be reunited and celebrating. The other meaning is third-party love triangle, because there are three cups of love in the picture. It's sitting right beside the Fool, a new beginning on something, taking unnecessary risks, taking risks outside the connection. Now, this could be telling me your person took risks outside the connection and got involved in a third-party thing, and they were totally in control of that, and you're just waiting on them. Could also be telling me that what you're ready to do is just take this blind leap of faith on being reunited, even though there's an internal conflict, even though there's betrayal and abandonment, and you've been hurt, and the truth has come out, and there's been this big emotional loss for you. There could be another connection looming in the background, but that could just as easily be you still feeling this connection, which is what could be keeping you focused on not being together anymore, not having it anymore. Either way, with the Devil and the shared energy twice, there's something unhealthy about this connection. There's probably an obsessive nature to how you're feeling here, especially if all that's happened and you're still waiting for reunion, still waiting to pour your love into this person. Something is off with that in and of itself, not counting the extra toxicity that's here. So far, I read these in columns and then I connect it in rows as I go. And so far, the only thing with nothing to connect to it is this Nine of Wands, this defensive energy, this need to protect yourself so that you don't get hurt again. Final card for you, Pisces, is the Ten of Pentacles and Strength. They came out together. The Ten of Pentacles is Virgo energy. This is maximum stability, abundance, and prosperity. This can be the combining together of two people or two families and all their assets and resources, trying to build a life together. But then we get strength with that. And this is a Leo Major Arcana card. And this is about going through some very difficult thing as it relates to this idea of building a life together. And what you're going through is forcing you to dig down deep inside yourself and tap into your internal strength to make it through. You have the strength to make it through. This would just indicate that you're kind of being forced to dig down in there and find it and tap into it and put it to use. Now, the other thing that it can represent is a person who's trying to tame this beast inside themselves. In other words, they have this urge or this impulse or this desire, and it's trying to rein that piece of me in so I don't make a mistake. Definitely see the beast out here with the devil twice in the shared energy. So this could be you trying to rein yourself in and contain this, what looks like wanting to pour your love back into them, ready to take the leap of faith into getting back together. And it could be a piece of you going, dude, we got hurt here. Let's get that King of Swords back out and look at the truth of the matter and the facts that are in front of us. And yes, this is painful, but there's an element of truth that needs looked at. Now, this could also represent part of your person's energy where they have this toxic thing inside themselves, and this could be them in a combined together life with you, whether that's married or engaged or living together or just going down the path toward building a life together. This could be them trying to contain that beast inside themselves and hold themselves back from doing something stupid, doing something foolish here, bringing a new cup of love into the picture, because again, that is tied to the person you have the love and emotions for. Also, it's tied to the stability of the connection, or at least the home and the family life. I got the 3 cups out here again, tied to your person. It could be that they tried to rein themselves in because they were building a life together with you and probably failed at doing that. So I'm going to clarify that. Tell me more about this 10 of Pentacles and Strength. Why is that the last card for Pisces? Okay. Underlying those energies, the Sun, the happiest card in the deck. This is Leo Major Arcana energy. I've got both Leo Major Arcana cards right here in this column. This is happiness, joy, bliss, harmony. It's really hard to get a better card than that in a love reading when that's what it's talking about. Now, if you look at how our solar system is put together, all the planets are in orbit around the sun because the sun has all this gravity and we can't escape from it. This could indicate that you have a lot of happiness tied to this connection, tied to this person, tied to this idea of a combined together life, which could be one reason why you're going through such a hard time right now. All your happiness is here. And right behind the truth, we have all the love and emotions being spilled, and this is negative emotions, remorse, regrets, emotional loss, emotional pain. So this, and we got the devil here where I feel like I can't escape from it. I can't escape the gravity of all of the happiness but this is not real happiness. This is some distorted version of happiness. The other thing the Sun can represent is it's the card that comes immediately after the moon in the sequence of the major arcana. When the moon's out, it's dark outside. It can represent something being hidden in the dark, some secret being kept. And the next step is the sun comes up and now it's not dark anymore. So this can represent illumination. It can represent like the light getting shined into the darkness and exposing the thing that was being hidden from me. It could represent that I see it now. I don't think that's what's happening though. I really don't. I think this is like having all this happiness attached to this, probably a toxic connection here. Probably not looking at it for how it actually is, but looking at it for the potential of what you thought it could be, or what you wish it could be, or what you want it to be. Right behind the sun is the Knight of Pentacles, slowest moving knight in the deck. So this could be very slow forward movement, very monotonous energy. I get this a lot when someone wants something really, really bad, like so bad I wanted it yesterday, but I'm getting this slow drip. And it probably feels like from where you sit, like no movement is happening here. Nothing's moving, nothing's progressing. The other thing this can mean is that you can see he has the Ace of Pentacles in his hand, the seed of abundance. But the fields in the background are barren. They're completely empty because he hasn't gotten off of his butt and planted the seed. He knows he has it. He knows he's supposed to plant the seed. He just hasn't done it yet. So it can represent a person who knows what they're supposed to do in a situation like this, but for some reason they're just not doing it, probably because they have all this what looks like a toxic level of maybe obsessive level of happiness, maybe just an unhealthy attachment to this. The other thing this could mean is a person who knows what they're not supposed to do, but they do it any damn way. He's not supposed to just sit here, but that's what he's doing. Looks like you might be struggling with the piece of yourself here. Might be why your very first card is an internal conflict, because I do have all of this happiness showing up. I've seen the 10 of Cups buried like 3 cards deep in the underlying energy for this Queen of Cups. But this, I can't shake this devil being out here twice in the shared energy. Something is bad wrong with this. When I clarify 10 of Pentacles and Strength, I get the Chariot, the 2 of Swords, the Lovers, and the 8 of Pentacles. The Chariot is the Cancer Major Arcana card. This is the fastest moving energy in the deck. This is the underlying will to overcome the problems or the challenges or the obstacles or whatever is in the way, this barrier that's in the way here. It's about trying to get past all of that just through sheer willpower alone and then moving forward successfully, very quickly. But there's also an internal conflict present in the card. There's a black sphinx and a white sphinx, and the driver doesn't have any reins to control this thing with. So this black sphinx represents the shadow side of you, and the white one represents the light aspects of you. And if both of those parts of yourself aren't in alignment, if you don't have the internal alignment where your shadow side and your light side are both pulling together in the same direction, this thing doesn't go anywhere, and it's every bit as stuck as the Hanged Man. Or worse yet, it'll rip itself in half as it tries to move forward because there's 2 different parts of you pulling in different directions, which again takes me back to the internal conflict, the internal tug of war here. I'm thinking you're having a pretty strong conflict between your head and your heart. Logic and reason and common sense is telling you one thing, and your emotions are probably getting in the way and telling you something else. Yeah, I've got the how you feel about this person, part of that internal conflict. And it's like this idea of like, there's a piece of this I don't want to see. That's why he's got his face buried in his arm, is because he's afraid to face the reality of the situation he's in because it's scary to him. But if he opened his eyes, he'd see the doors open and he can leave. And this feeling of being trapped, you're not actually trapped. I think part of what's in the way is this wanting to overcome the obstacle when the truth of the matter is saying something different. There's this, even in this row, there's this waiting to overcome the obstacle. And it looks like the obstacle is betrayal, mental and psychological pain. Like waiting on that to just magically correct itself, or waiting on the universe to fix your person, or something along those lines. Especially when I have the Lovers in this column. I'll get to that in a second. Next, we have this 2 of Swords. This is Libra energy. 2s are choices and decisions, and this is a decision that needs made, only it hasn't been made yet. Now, the person on the card is blindfolded, and that blindfold can represent a few things. First, it could mean I just don't have enough information available to me to make the decision, which is why I haven't yet. But with the overall energy being the sword of truth and clarity, I gotta call bullshit on that. You know. I've got betrayal, abandonment, And this idea of waiting on your person to reunite, idea of waiting on being able to overcome this thing. I don't think for a second that this is you don't have the information that you need, which means the other thing the blindfold can represent is blinders that someone has on. In other words, there's a part of this that I don't want to see. I don't want to look at that because I don't want that to be true. We saw that 10 of Cups buried in the underlying energy in your central column here. And that 10 of Cups is the card that gets more of us in trouble than any card in the deck because we all want that idealized thing so badly that it leads us to delude ourselves, lie to ourselves, put blinders on, and pretend like we didn't get betrayed, pretend like we didn't see this toxicity. Because if that stuff is true, then that happily ever after that I want this to become can't be true. And I want that to be true. So this a lot of times is the blinders that we wear to stop us from seeing the things that we don't want to see. I don't want to face this piece of it. There's your person in the center in that same column, and abandonment. And I don't want that to be the case. I saw that Knight of Pentacles, where I know what I'm supposed to do here. I'm just not doing it for some reason. Struggling against a piece of myself. Next, I have the Lovers. And this is the Gemini Major Arcana card. This can feel like a powerful love connection for you. And I know a lot of times you'll see dozens and dozens of readers on YouTube trying to tell you that this card means twin flames, that this is the one for you. And it's like a divine union, a divine connection. And that's not true at all. That's not what this card has ever meant. The whole idea of twin flames was made up by a literal doomsday cult leader in 1973, 1974. Her name was Elizabeth Clare Prophet. She ran the Church Universal and Triumphant, and it was literally a doomsday cult. They built the largest underground bunkers in the world, or in North America, I should say. And she created the whole twin flame thing as a way to take advantage of vulnerable people and rip them off and get them in her cult and keep control of them. So this card has never meant twin flames. Like I said, that was invented in 1973, 1974. The Rider-Waite Tarot deck was created in 1908, like 60 some years before twin flames even were a thing. So this card has never meant that. So this is not divine union, divine connection. Those terms aren't even being used correctly when you hear the readers talk about that stuff. The divine connection is the connection between your soul and the divine. It's not a connection between you and your boyfriend. That's never what it's been about. Even divine union is the union between your soul and the divine, not you and some other human. That's never what this card has ever been about. This is about the interconnectedness between people. And when you're in a connection with someone, their decisions affect you. Like, these are the same people on the Devil card. This is a toxic level of connection. It's got false limiting beliefs attached to it. A long time ago, before this card was even called the Lovers, it used to be called the Choice. So this represents a choice about this connection. It represents the fact that your choices affect each other, which clearly your person's choices have affected you. They've abandoned you. They took this foolish new beginning here, this risky behavior to bring a third person in. There's betrayal here. So this is either a choice about this connection or it's a choice between two different lovers. I'm thinking it's both because I got this other half of the equation for you having a new cup of love. That person being internally conflicted about what they actually want and looking like they ultimately decide to take the first steps in a new direction, go in a different way. So I've got two cards in a row that reference a choice for you. And I think part of what it is that you might not be looking at is feeling the power of this connection and not recognizing that it's not what you want. It's not real. It's also a choice between lovers because It's sitting right beside the third party love triangle card, the three cups of love. And in that same row is someone taking a blind leap of faith on a new beginning, risks outside of the connection. There's this whole idea of overcoming it, and I don't want to look at something, and what I want to see is the power of this connection, but what I'm refusing to look at is what it actually is. And the truth of the matter here, there's another connection looming in the background, and this connection between the two of you has been spilled. Next, I have the Eight of Pentacles, which is Virgo energy of work, putting in the work, the time, effort, and energy on something to get what you want, like wanting to work on this. At the minimum, it's the willingness to put in that work, time, effort, and energy. In this bottom row, I've got you being hurt and having this wall to protect yourself, potentially feeling like there's a barrier in the way that's stopping you from getting what you want. On the other side, I have this working on it, this willingness to try to put the work in to overcome the obstacle and struggling with that. And in the middle of those two cards is a gap. There's a void in the information. There's a hole here. And what's connected to that void is the third cup of love showing up. Whew, this one's heavy. And I'm sorry for what you're going through, Pisces, but I have to tell you the truth of what I see and what I feel as I'm doing this. If what you're looking for is someone to validate your fantasy for you and tell you what you want to hear and tell you like some kind of a fantasy future prediction, like on November 14th, the universe is going to fix your person and he's going to come back to you, that's just not reality. That's not the way reality works. And I know a lot of people, especially when this Lovers card comes out or that 10 of Cups, and we've seen both of them at this point, what a lot of people want to believe is that the divine, the universe, spirit, source, God, whatever label you personally use for that, is doing all this work in the background to fix this magical divine connection that's supposed to be. And they're going to fix it for you and deliver it to you. But again, let's zoom out for a second and look at things logically. Let's look at the world around us right now. There's war, there's disease, there's murder, there's human trafficking. Hell, there's child sex trafficking happening right now, affecting millions and millions of people. And the divine isn't stepping in to intervene in those situations. So why in the world we would believe these tarot readers that tell you that the divine is somehow micromanaging our own personal love life drama when the divine isn't stepping in to manage things that are affecting literally millions of people? Does that make any logical sense to you why that would be the case? Like, to me, it takes like a tremendous amount of ego and overinflated self-importance to think that the divine is going to step in and personally take care of my relationship for me because my relationship is just so powerful and important and divinely guided and orchestrated. That's just, to me, that whole idea is ridiculous. Anyway, that's your energy in this connection for late October 2025, Pisces. Let's take a look at your person and see what else we can find out. For them, the first card is the most important. They got the Hierophant. Central for their energy is the Seven of Cups. And their final card is the Magician. The Hierophant is Taurus Major Arcana energy. This is a card of commitment. It's about being committed to something bigger than themselves. In a relationship reading, this would be like a marriage card. This would be fully committed to the relationship, taking things to the next level, going in that kind of a direction. Tell me more about the Hierophant. One other thing that's screaming at me, this is the 5 of the Major Arcana. 5s are conflict. This rules over the 5s of the 4 suits, all the conflicts in the 4 suits of the deck. I've got the 5 of Wands, the 5 of Swords, the 5 of Pentacles as your first 3 cards. And I have the 5 of Wands here directly linked to your person. Their internal conflict, probably their emotional turmoil that they're not expressing to you. And again, before you get too excited about seeing a marriage card, keep in mind this devil card in both decks is affecting their energy too, skewing whatever that commitment is supposed to represent. So that's not real commitment, that's distorted commitment. Now, I have the Ten of Pentacles on your side, which commonly gets referred to as like combining lives together. That can be a marriage card. The Hierophant can be a marriage card. The other marriage card is the Four of Wands, and it's out here in the shared energy, also directly connected to the devil and directly connected to this new cup of love. So it would not surprise me if I'm looking at a marriage here between you and this person. It doesn't have to be legally married. You could be engaged. You could just live together. It could be that you thought this was going the direction of marriage. It could be any of that. So take that part however it applies to your situation. But tell me more about this Hierophant, please. Well, okay. Giving me extra ones here. That's very telling in and of itself. What's underlying the Hierophant? The Ten of Cups. Pisces energy. Happily ever after. Happy fairy tale love connection. Happy fairy tale romance. This is not the real Ten of Cups. The devil is here twice. Like, I've already given you all the reasons why this is someone's idealized point of view here. This is an unhealthy belief, an unhealthy attachment. Yeah, right behind the Ten of Cups is judgment, passing a final verdict in judgment on this idea of the Ten of Cups. Man, this is calling it dead and over with. Your person doing that. The other thing they're passing judgment on is the Three of Pentacles. The teamwork, the collaboration, the working together as equals to build this thing together. It doesn't seem very equal from their point of view, especially with your literal central card is the Emperor. Them being in control of everything. You waiting on them. If it's equal, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. When I clarify the Hierophant, I get the Hierophant again from the other deck. Notice that keeps happening. I get the same card in both decks. Then I get the Ten of Pentacles. So there it is happening again. Like, see the synchronicity here? Like, the devil is one of those very illusion-based energies. It's incredibly good at convincing us that this is the thing that you want, when in reality, it's not. It's a distorted version of that. Next, I get the Queen of Wands, the Ace of Swords again, which is the overall energy of the whole reading, and the King of Swords. And this is the second time we've seen him now. So we just got done talking about the Hierophant, the commitment, the taking things to the next level, the marriage card aspect of it, and I get the Hierophant again. So again, another reference to marriage. The universe just beating me over the head with it. And Ten of Pentacles, that's out here in your energy. Would not surprise me in the least bit. If this wasn't a marriage, it was something that you were fully committed to. Which is probably why you don't want to look at the truth of what's actually happening here. Makes perfect sense to me. And please don't take anything I've said the wrong way. I'm not trying to judge you. I'm trying to get you the truth and the clarity so you can make the decisions that are in your own best interest. If what you're looking for is someone to blow smoke up your ass and sugarcoat this dog turd and tell you it's a Snickers bar, I'm not the guy for that. My channel is called Unknown Truth Tarot because I'm here to get you the truth so you can use it, so you can make decisions and make adjustments in your life. I'm not here to predict a fantasy future where your wildest dreams come true because the universe does it all for you and just delivers it to you. See, there's a big problem going on in YouTube tarot right now, and most readers are using tarot as like a crystal ball. They're using it as a mirror, as a window, like it's a window you can look through to see the future, or a window you can look through to see what's going on with, the thing you want getting delivered to you. And it's almost like sitting there on the couch, turned around backwards, looking out the window, waiting for the cosmic Amazon delivery driver to show up and deliver your dream life to you. But that's not even real tarot. That's not what tarot is for. And it's not what it's ever been. Tarot is a mirror, and it's meant to reflect your energy back to you so you can see it and recognize what needs adjusting. Like, everyone thinks that, well, not everyone, I don't mean to over exaggerate it and simplify it. Too many people, they think that this thing is supposed to happen is just going to happen. Like, my destiny is already predetermined. My future is already predetermined. And it's not. Your future is determined in the moments of your decisions. And I've got this decision here, like 2 choice cards. That's when your future gets determined. And again, we can zoom out for a second and let's do a little thought experiment, because if your choices aren't what determines your future, if your future's already predetermined, that means you could literally choose to jump off of a 10-story building and it would have no effect on you because your future's already predetermined and that choice would have no impact. But we both know that's bullshit. If you jump off a 10-story building, you're going to splatter all over the ground. So our choices literally dictate the future. That's what's going to happen. And the choices we make have consequences. They have pretty immediate consequences most of the time. But I'm getting off track, and I'm not trying to go on the soapbox and turn into a preacher. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to get you clarity. And the only way I can do that is to kind of shed light on some of these things, because I'm hoping that it helps you. I've got 3 marriage cards combined together live, fully committed energy right here. But it's surrounded with this distortion, this toxicity. And then the next clarifier I get for that Hierophant card is the Queen of Wands. This is Aries or Leo energy. This is a bold, passionate, fiery, determined person that knows what she wants. This is someone, it's a high up card in the wand suit. And the wand is about passion, desire, sexual energy. This is 99% of the time the other woman. You're a Pisces. You should be Queen of Cups. And you are. Here you are right here in the center of your own energy as Queen of Cups. This ain't you. This is the person that there's the passion and the desire and the sexual energy toward, the attraction toward. And all of that is taking place while this person is supposedly fully committed with you and building a life together with you, which is why I've got them masking their emotions while they have a new cup. They're expressing interest and desire and taking the first steps on that. Right behind the truth and the loss that you're feeling is that same Page of Wands, the communications about passion and desire, taking the first steps on that. That's why we've got 3 cups of love over here tied to them in your energy. This is the other person. This is that other cup. And then I get the Ace of Swords again, which again is the overall energy. That's the truth of the matter. That's the facts of the matter. And then I got King of Swords here. This is your person making decisions based on what they can see right in front of them. Queen of Wands. For a Pisces, this type of an energy here, this King of Swords energy, can feel very emotionally distant, emotionally detached, even cold and calculated at times. He's carrying that sword. And like I said, that's the sword you make decisions with. This is the decision-making energy. This could be the sword that they use to sever the connection, which is probably why it's the overall energy and why right behind it is you having the spilled togetherness here, because there's another connection in the background. Central to your person's energy, Pisces, is the Seven of Cups, Scorpio energy of options and choices and confusion about the options and choices. There's a lot of different cups here, a lot of options, a lot of different things they could choose to do. There's a lot of emotions involved. Again, this is also a very illusion-based energy. Sometimes it's hard to tell which of these options is even real, especially when you got the devil in the shared energy twice. This can represent emotions clouding their judgment, emotions clouding their decision making. Hell, it can even represent them blowing a smoke screen, trying to obscure the fact that they have options, trying to hide that from you so you can't see the truth of the matter. Tell me about, about the Seven of Cups, please. Why is that the central energy for Pisces person at the end of October 2025, please? Okay, I will take you. That's cool. Let's get one more for that, please. You cannot make this stuff up. I so wish I could make this shit up, because I would just stop reading tarot and I would move to Hollywood and write movies, and then I would be loaded rich. Underline this Seven of Cups. Knight of Swords. Fastest moving knight in the deck. This is very fast forward movement. This is someone who rushes forward and takes this decisive action on something. The problem is, this ain't the person who thinks it through first. This is the person that just rushes off and does it, and they don't bother to think about it until after they've already done it. And by then it's too late. I've got that Fool over here. These two energies are screaming that this person should have looked before they leaped, but they didn't. They just acted first and didn't think about it. Now, another thing that I don't really like to say about the Knight of Swords, but in this particular case, I feel like I need to say it. This can represent narcissistic energy, narcissistic behavior. They took off and made this decisive action because of this Four of Cups. This is Cancer energy of not being fully emotionally happy, not being fully emotionally content. Notice what they're not content with is the Three Cups, the togetherness. And there's this other cup up here hanging in the air, this other thing that if I had that, it would make me happy. That's how this Queen of Wands gets into the picture. Here's that other cup that is tied directly to your person. And why they have an internal conflict is because they have some stability with you that they feel trapped by, like they can't escape from it. They have some toxic element to this commitment, this marriage, this life that you guys have together, however that applies to you. And they're not happy with that, and they can't get this other person off their mind. They have other options that they do not want you to see. When I clarify Seven of Cups, Wheel of Fortune, Four of Pentacles, Seven of Swords. The Wheel of Fortune is a change in the luck and fortune. This is that pivotal moment where things spun the wheel and it wrapped itself around a telephone pole. This is the pivotal moment where everything changed. Now, it can also represent a repeating cycle of something happening again and again. Repeating cycle of options and choices. Could be a repeating cycle of trying to cloud things up for you so you can't see it. I've got the devil out here twice in the Wheel of Fortune. That's called the karmic hamster wheel. In other words, this person had some lesson that they're supposed to learn through this painful thing, and they didn't learn the lesson, so now they're repeating it again and again and again, and they're going to keep repeating it until they learn the lesson. And they clearly have not learned the lesson. There's this cycle is playing out during a commitment with you, a cycle of options. So this could be telling me that this ain't the first time they've done you this way. Could also be why you've got the blinders on here, because I don't want that to be true either. I want to overcome this. Maybe you've overcome it with them before. And maybe that's why there's a betrayal and this idea of waiting, like maybe waiting on it to happen again, and it does happen again if that's the case. Next, I have the Four of Pentacles. So there could also be a repeating cycle of greedy, stingy, me, myself, and I kind of, I'm going to hold on to everything behavior. It's Capricorn energy, about holding on to something and not wanting to let go of it. It can also represent scarcity mindset, wanting to cling to things and hold on to it like it's all mine. It's sitting right beside the 10 of Pentacles, like this combined together life belongs to me, which is probably why I'm seeing them showing up as the Emperor in the center of your energy over here. This could be they have a combined together life with you, like legitimately married, and I don't want to lose all my stuff. I don't want to lose the full 10 pentacles, because when you leave a marriage, you don't leave with everything, and this person wants everything. What you leave with, damn, it's in the same row, the second row, very first card, 5 of Pentacles, the breakup. Notice how that's half of the 10 of Pentacles. You don't leave this with everything. They only get to take half of it. And that's probably why they're trying to obscure this from you and not let you see it, is because they don't want to lose anything. They don't want to let go of anything they don't have to let go of. Final clarifier for 7 of Cups is 7 of Swords. Aquarius energy, lying, cheating, stealing, deception, sneaking around behind your back, trying to get away with something they shouldn't be trying to get away with. They also don't want to let go of their ability to do that. But right beside that 7 of Swords is that Queen of Wands again. That's the other person that they're sneaking around with, that they're cheating on you with. Even in the third row down over here, I've got them being the fool, taking the unnecessary risks outside the connection. There's the third cup of love in the same row with the hot queen, like the fire element queen, the one they have attraction for, that they're sneaking around with. And it's also in the same row with the Lovers, which is that choice between two different lovers, a choice that they weren't making, probably because you were blind to it. You either didn't see it or you didn't want to see it. And because of that, I don't have to make the choice here. I can just keep right on keeping on, holding on to both of you. I'll keep you because I don't want to lose all of my stuff. And I'm going to keep sneaking around with her because I don't have to choose yet. Like I said, this Knight of Swords is still staring at me. That sounds very narcissistic to me. So again, not calling your person a narcissist. I can't guarantee that they are one. I'm just saying it's giving me strong vibes of that. Final card in your person's energy, Pisces, is the Magician. This is the master manifester of the tarot deck. This is the person whose thoughts and actions create the world around them to be in alignment with what their will desires. This is them and their thoughts and actions creating this whole situation that I'm reading about right here. Again, it's the twisted version of the Magician because that devil energy is out here twice. If you think about what the Magician's doing when he's like creating, he's manifesting, he's manipulating the situation around him. He's manipulating the people around him, the energies around him. That can be a master manipulator. So tell me about the Magician, please. Why is that the final card? Good gosh. I know I'm probably going to get flamed in the comments from somebody about, well, your readings are always so negative. You watch me do the reading. I don't hand select cards. I don't start the reading with all the cards laid on the table. I don't flip the deck right side up and let me flip through this and hand select the ones to tell this negative story. You watch me. I shuffle. Shit shoots out everywhere. I pick it up and tell you what it means. You're free to go online and look up the traditional meanings of the tarot cards, and I'm giving you the traditional meanings of what the cards are and what the images themselves mean. I'm not making this shit up. I'm just reading it to you. Underlying this Magician, this person whose thoughts and actions have created this thing, we have the Moon. This is fear, worry, and anxiety from uncertainty. Sure, it can be that. It can also represent something being hidden in the dark, some secret being kept about what they're creating. Part of what they're keeping secret is the King of Pentacles. This is Taurus energy. This is husband energy. Getting ahead of myself for a second, the first clarifier here is the Queen of Pentacles. Husband and wife energy. They work together as equals to build the Ten of Pentacles, the combined together life, which is tied to the Hierophant and the Hierophant. So I've got literally every card in the deck that talks about marriage. King and Queen of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles, Hierophant, Four of Wands. All of them are out here. Again, does that mean you are legitimately, legally married to this person? No, you could be. At the minimum, this is a real physical life commitment here. And part of what they're keeping secret while they create this situation is husband energy. To me, what that sounds like is not only are they lying to you while they sneak around with this new person, they're probably lying to the new person about either being married or already being committed. They're probably not being honest with that person either. Yeah, behind that King of Pentacles, King of Wands. There's the counterpart to that Queen of Wands. This is usually Leo energy, sometimes Sagittarius energy. Hell, I guess it could be Aries. It's a male fire sign type of an energy. Doesn't have to be talking about what sign they are. It could just be talking about the qualities. That's the top level of the wand suit. The wand is the phallic symbol, the passion, the desire, the sexual energy. So this is someone who's very driven and motivated in the normal sense, but also very driven and motivated by passion and desire. We talked about it before. We saw that King of Swords. That's the person who throws the emotions out the window and they decide with their mind. The King of Cups is the person who decides with his heart. And this King of Wands is the person who decides with his wand, not his head or his heart. So it looks to me like they're keeping this husband idea hush hush and just going straight out with this passion and desire thing. When I clarify the Magician, I get the Queen of Pentacles, the Hanged Man, and the Tower. The Queen of Pentacles, Capricorn energy, this is wife energy. This is probably you. And I would say they're keeping a secret from you, hiding something from you while they manifest what they want. While their thoughts and actions create what they want, it's being done from this toxic, distorted type of an energy here. That Queen of Pentacles is sitting right next to the Wheel of Fortune. This is the pivotal moment that changed everything for you. The truth of that leads you straight to this Five of Cups, sadness, remorse, emotional loss. It's the thing that changed either this marriage or this commitment between the two of you. They're the one that created that change. Next, I have the Hanged Man. This is Pisces energy of progress being halted, no forward movement happening, things being stuck at a dead stop. Things are stopped with you. I'm putting the brakes on this. Now, this could also be telling me that whatever they created here, the secrets they were keeping, kind of got you stuck to where you can't move forward right now. Probably because you still feel trapped in this connection. You feel like you can't escape the pull of this connection. Again, this is like some sort of a toxic limiting belief where you're not really trapped in it. You just feel like you are right now. Probably because there's an element of it that you're not seeing or that you're not facing. And the other thing about the Hanged Man is it can represent a person who is looking at things from a different perspective. That's why he's hanging upside down. But things are external. This isn't my fault. This is your fault, Pisces. This isn't my fault. It's the wife's fault. I'm playing the blame game, playing the helpless victim, which is calling me back to that Knight of Swords that I saw. That's narcissistic behavior. Like, this person is doing all of the dirty shit and probably blaming it on you, or blaming it on this hot chick that walked by, or blaming it on some other thing that's not them. It's trying to hold on to whatever they have here. This Ten of Pentacles, hold on to this ability to lie, cheat, and steal. Final card to clarify this Magician is the Tower. This is the foundation rocking event, the collapse of some important structure in your lives. This is the part where it all comes crashing down. A lot of times, this will represent the collapse of the relationship itself, which is probably why I'm seeing it gets severed and there's the loss of it that you're feeling. But sometimes this is more than just the connection collapsing. It's the collapse of the belief system that I had here, like the mental model of the world I was operating from. I thought that we were married. I thought that this was the one for me. I thought we had this powerful, like, soul level connection here, but I'm getting betrayal and abandonment and a third party being brought in, and even the tower is sitting directly beside the Seven of Swords. That's the moment that it all collapsed. That Seven of Swords is connected directly to the collapse of this, and it's connected in the same column as the pivotal moment that changed everything. And all of that is in the same row with this other person that shows up. And now what's left on their side with nothing to connect is the sword of truth, the sword you make decisions with, the sword you would use to cut away something or someone that's not in balance, that's not in your best interest anymore. And the King of Swords, the person who doesn't decide based on how they feel, they decide based on the truth and the facts and what they can see right in front of them.